time to organize my yarn stash. So I have been crocheting for 2 years now, which means I've also been collecting yarn for that long. And those are separate hobbies, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But in that time, I haven't actually organized my yarn stash. I have been pretty good at keeping track of what I have. As soon as I buy something, I put it into a little Excel spreadsheet so I know how many skeins I have of each color. And every time I'm done using a skein, I mark it off. So I have generally been okay with my inventory levels, but just in case I've made a few boo-boos along the way, I have decided to finally organize my yarn stash. And there is a whole heap of them. So the first thing I want to do is get all of my yarn out of the boxes it's in, and then we can count them all and see if my spreadsheets are correct.
I think there's another universe where I haven't yet felt pain, and maybe in that other universe I'm a flower and you're the rain. I think somewhere in a different life I'm still 7 in 2nd grade. And I'm so happy that I feel alright, and that I haven't met my brain. And maybe somewhere in a different world my mom's a bug inside a tree. My dad's the scientist who captured her, but now it's time to set her free. And maybe somehow in this skull of mine I find it hard to see the truth.
I have unpacked all of my yarn, given all of my storage boxes a wipe down, and now I'm going to go through them and pop them back into boxes in sort of like project categories. For example, if I know I'm going to use it for a blanket or a throw, I'm going to put all of those yarns in one box. All of my amigurumi yarn goes in another, wearables in another, and just sort of keep similar yarns together. Now, I'm not going to keep all of this. I know I'm going to destash at least some of this. For example, this one. I used it for an episode of Mill and Makes. I am not a fan of it. I just bought it because it was pretty and I thought I would try it. However, it is quite fuzzy. I don't really like the texture of it or how it works up in crochet. So the 3 remaining hanks I am going to just donate, or maybe I'll try and sell it on Facebook Marketplace. If someone wants to grab it, then they can. Otherwise, I'm just going to donate it if it doesn't get picked up in a week or 2. And some of the yarns I don't think I would use for personal projects. For example, this one. This is another one that I used for a Mill and Makes episode. It is reflective yarn, but I have a feeling I could still use this for my donation projects. For those of you who don't know, I do make dog snoods and donate them to the Gumtree Greys Rescue. All of the funds go back to rescuing and rehabilitating greyhounds. I feel like this is something that I could do for the winter time since it is reflective yarn. Maybe I could make like reflective dog snoods. So I might put all of the yarns that I want to destash from my personal stash into like a donated yarn stash separately and keep them with my pile of donated yarns, which I will then organize next. So come with me as I do all of that, and while I put them into boxes, I'm also going to be checking my inventory spreadsheet just to make sure I have the right numbers in there and updating anything that seems to be missing or deducting anything that I've already used. all of my yarn is now back in its tubs. This one over here is full of DK weight yarn in a variety of colors. I use these to make amigurumi. I've also included the knitting yarn that I got with my knitting machine in here. I probably use them for amigurumi extras. This one has a bunch of spot saver yarn, which is a worsted weight yarn. I bought this to make tapestry crochet. This is a bunch of cotton yarn. All of these are from Hobby, and then that one over there, and then there's one more pack under here are from Spotlight. They're all cotton. I plan on making wearables with them. This is my donation snood bin. I got these for free from Temu with the intention of making snoods from them. Then there's this that I bought from Millens with the intention of making stuff for my foster dogs, but we're not fostering anymore, so they will likely become donation snoods. There's also this reflective yarn in here, which I will likely use for some reflective winter snoods. This is a bunch of mandala ombre cakes in Millens bags. There's also some regular mandala ombre down there. This will likely become throws or blankets or undecided projects for the moment. I've just stored them all in here. I've also got my Motivera Shadow 8-ply yarn that I'm currently making a throw out of. And there's the mandala hiding back there. And this is sort of my random bits and pieces bin. These are mini skeins that I bought when I first started crocheting and I didn't realize they were mini skeins. I still need to use them up. I've also got more of that shadow yarn that I'm just keeping. These are sort of like the batch numbers that I need to use next. So I've just separated them into a little Ziploc bag. Away from these ones, I will dig into these ones once I've used these. I've got some more Millens in black and yellow, which I was planning on making wearables with. I've got some fluffy yarn in black and white. I plan on making a birthday present for my brother-in-law with it. So that will be done early next year, hopefully. And then I've just got some white that I got from the Millen bins. I was planning on using this just for donations or amigurumi. It is DK weight yarn. Undecided at the moment, so I've just popped them in here because the other bins are all full. So that is all of my yarn packed and ready to be stored away. Now I do have a bunch of donation yarn sitting over there in a bunch of boxes. I'm going to get all of them out onto my couch again just so I can see what I have, what I'm working with. I don't currently have a list of colors for my donation yarn, so I might put that together. It might make it easier for when I need to figure out what colors I have to make the snoods that I'm envisioning. So I'm going to do that now and I will catch up with you in a sec. I forgot to show you the yarns that I will be destashing. There are 10 skeins of this pink cotton yarn. I did buy it with the intention of making a wearable. However, I've decided that it doesn't look that great against my skin tone. It blends in a bit too much. And I do have other cotton yarn that I'm yet to turn into wearables. So this will be going away to someone that can actually use it. I've also got a couple different colorways of Ferris wheel yarn. Now I did buy this yarn to make things for my foster dogs. However, we aren't fostering anymore. So I've decided just to give it to someone who will actually use it. These are really good yarns, so I don't really want to use it for my donation snoods. I do have heaps of other yarns that I've used for that, so I will be attempting to sell this one, and if not, it will be donated. And there are the 3 Millens that I mentioned before that I didn't really like working with. These will also be attempted to be sold on Facebook Marketplace. If no one wants them, they will be going to charity. Now on to my actual donation snoods, and there are a lot of them. So these are everything that I have a snood quantity of, which means basically I have more than one skein or more than 100 grams of it to be able to make a snood base. There are heaps in here. A lot of grays, some red, lots of yellows, some pink that I was planning on making Easter snoods with, a colorful one, and some blanket yarn that I could make for winter. I've also got some hobby cakes that I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with, so I just kept them in the box. And I've got heaps of white in different colorways. These are very useful for extras like antlers and ears and things like that, so all of that will come in handy. And these are the odd skeins that I don't have enough to make a full snood out of, but I definitely could use for extras. So I have just made a note of how many skeins I have of each for all of the snood quantities, just in case I was planning on making, let's say, a frog and I didn't have enough green, or any green for that matter in this case. I know that I can't actually make that without having to like scavenge through my box of yarn, which will all go in there now shortly. But yeah, a very productive day, and I'm a bit out of breath, so I do apologize for that. I've been running around my house and it is a gigantic mess, but it soon would be. So I will be putting all of these away into boxes and then popping them in my storage cage for when I actually need to use them. The yarn is all sorted and Socks has come to say hi and decided to stand right next to the camera. But that is it. I am so exhausted and so sweaty. All of my yarn is boxed away. Hopefully you can see it with Socks in the way. Socksy, can you move please? Thank you. Can you move? He doesn't want to, but I have so much yarn, so I reckon 2025 will be a yarn diet year while I try to stash down on what I already have. I have a lot of donated yarn as well, which I did not buy. It was kindly donated to Gumtree Grays for us to make snoods and then sold for, you know, fundraising purposes. So I am going to try and focus on smashing out a heap of snoods as well, which I think should get rid of a lot of this. Socks is in the way, I am so sorry. But it should hopefully get rid of a lot of this. I only started crocheting for Gumtree Grays, I think in June or July this year. So in the last 6 months, I have already used over 50 skeins, Socksy, over 50 skeins of the donated yarn, plus about 9 or 10 of my own yarn that I put towards these projects. So I think that's a great stash buster, those donation stones. So that's definitely something that I will be doing. And Socks just wants to be in the picture this time. But yeah, that is it. Thank you for joining me for my little yarn organization video. It is really eye-opening to see it all laid out in my living room. I definitely knew I had all of this yarn, but yeah, the donated yarn sort of caught me by surprise because it's just stored away in boxes until I decided to dig for the colors. But I think I've got a bit of a more organized process going forward for all of the donated stuff now that I've made a list of the colors I have. So yeah, hopefully 2025 is a productive year, but I shall see you then. Thanks for watching.